gonna get started. I am so excited about tonight. Our guest speaker, let's see, I was trying to think, Candace. We met at Dash, like not this Dash, but the one before that. So I don't know, maybe a year and a half ago. I remember I got to meet her poolside, and I just loved getting to hear about her story. I think we were both kind of newbies at that Dash event with the top 75 earners. And so it was fun to just get to connect with her. And John just loved her husband as well. And so Candace, thank you. I made you a co-host so you can mute and unmute, but thank you for taking time to spend pour into us tonight.
Oh, thank you for having me. Yes, I remember that Dash like it was yesterday. I was like, how did we get here? But we know how we got here, but it was still surreal.
It was. Aw. Well, I'm excited for them to hear from you. And so I wanted to see if maybe we could start off with you just kind of sharing your story, how you got into the business and how you built your way to ambassador.
Yes. Okay. So my name is Candance Terrazas. I am in San Antonio, so not too far from where Sherry Lynn is, and maybe some of you. So my background was in the corporate world. I got introduced to this business through my sister, who's also ambassador. We went ambassador the same month, and I was one of those people who was very skeptical, said I would never do anything like this. I just totally misunderstood network marketing. So I will say that if you have people who have like corporate professional jobs that are maybe on your chicken list, you need to just get over yourself and message them, because that was me. My background's in corporate healthcare. I worked my way up the career ladder, was at a six-figure income. And when I was 5 months pregnant with my son, I actually got laid off my job. And we just hit like what I feel like was our rock bottom. But we also had just come out of the real estate market crash. I don't know if you guys remember, like 2009, 2012, like all of that, when the market crashed, nobody was buying homes, nobody was selling homes. My husband's in real estate. So now we had me who lost our every 2-week paycheck. We lost my health benefits. Then we had an unstable income. I never saw my husband. He was working 7 days a week, and now we're bringing a life into this world. I had no job security, so even if I had found a job, I was actively applying and I was flying through phone interviews. But the minute that they would want to schedule a phone interview, an actual face-to-face interview, they'd see the bump, and I would never get a call back. And I know I was qualified for these positions, and obviously now I know like God had a purpose, had a plan, but in the midst of it, it just felt very like, what is going on? Why am I not getting a job? My husband's working 7 days a week. Deals are falling through. We had no set income. It was tough. There were some months that we were literally calling our creditors, because I've always been really like, anxious and about, having money in our accounts and not, falling behind. And my credit is something that's always been like important to me, like most people. And so I remember calling creditors and asking them like, what's the minimum I could pay this month to be like in good standing. And we just really hit some really tough times. I just felt like, not seeing my husband 7 days a week. So we brought baby into the world, and the goal was for me to look for a job. But if you're a mom, maybe you could relate, like seeing your baby for the first time and like the thought of putting him in daycare, I would literally cry about it. And it was just a hard place to be, because of course my husband wished that he was in a position where I didn't have to go to work, but I didn't go to work. I just was like trusting God, and praise God, there was always food on the table. Like, we were able to do stuff, but it just was not abundant. And so when It Works was first introduced to me, my son was actually 7 months. I had seen my sister posting these before and after pictures, and I was legit worried for her. Like, I'd called my mom and like, Sammy signed up with one of those scams. And mind you, my sister, she was on food stamps, on government support, like with her housing. She doesn't have a traditional degree. She has no experience in anything. So I was like worried for her. Like, my sister's so naive. She just signed up with one of those pyramid scams. And so it took some time for me to just like see these things. I was really intrigued. About a month later, I tried my first wrap, and I had mind-blowing results. I lost 4 inches, and I was like, what? Like, I was determined to prove them wrong. I was like, well, it's probably just water weight. And she's like, if it's water weight, why am I telling you to drink so much water? And so I knew they worked. I had great results. And I told her, okay, well, and I didn't even sign up. I didn't want to sign up to be a customer distributor. So I was one of them. If you have a sibling or a loved one that hasn't supported you, jumped on board, don't give up. You've got to get vision for where you're going because they need to see that you're serious about this. And that's exactly what happened with me. About 4 months later, I went to California to go visit I'm in Texas and she's in California. I went to go visit my sister and she had just hit Emerald. She had only been in the business for 4 months. And, her Emerald check was like over $900. I remember her showing me, and my sister is super shy, very introverted. She's a stay-at-home mom to 4 boys, like in this tiny town that nobody's even heard of. And I was just totally intrigued. Like, this is real money. Like, you really got paid this? She's like, yeah, it's in my account. And that's kind of like when the shift happened. I decided I just was in a position where I couldn't afford to say no anymore. Like, we were struggling, and I didn't want to go back to healthcare because Obamacare had just gotten rolled out. So there was no job security in my field anyways. And I did enjoy, like, one thing that I feel like this business has given me, and I'm just going to add this in there before I forget. I loved what I did in my career. I had no plans to ever quit my job. Genuinely, I was fine with putting my son in daycare. Like, had I not gotten laid off, that's just how it would have rolled out. And I was at peace with that. I was making good money. And, but, once I stayed home with my son, I loved it so much. And the thought of putting him in daycare would make me cry. But also, I felt like a piece of me was lost. Like my old, go-getter, ambitious Candy that I was, like, I felt like part of that was missing. And I feel like this business has been able to be such a beautiful balance of both, of being able to be the mom that you want to be, but also like have your goals and having that comfort of knowing you can provide. I signed up with a mini booster kit. We put it on a credit card because that's just where we were at financially. And for me, I just saw business wise, like if I turn around and I sell these 3 boxes of body wraps, like I'm already in profit mode. So if I decide this is not for me, then I can quit, right? Like I seriously said that to my sister, and she's like, yeah, like there's no contracts or commitments. I did my first post the first day. I hadn't even left California. I was that same day I signed up. I did my first post on Facebook. And it's funny. I had told my sister at the beginning, like, I'm not going to be posting about this. Maybe I'll just like start a page about health and wellness, or I'll start a blog, but I'm not going to be one of those girls posting a bunch of before and after pictures. Lo and behold, I'm that girl. But I feel like a lot of the reason why a lot of people struggle at the beginning of at the beginning of their business is the fear of what other people think about you. And you're just so scared of what people are judging you on. Maybe you have a fear of failure. And that was me. I just had this terrible, like, fear of failure. Like, what if I fail and everybody watches me fail? What if they're looking at my weight and watching to see if these products really work? What if they think like, oh, look at that girl doing that funny, like, one of those kinds of businesses, and she was a professional and this and that. And it was just a decision. It wasn't a feeling. It was a decision to just, you know what, like my family is worth it. I miss my husband. I was not ever seeing him. He was working so much. And I feel like even there were times I remember him being home and my son was doing something cute, like, something cute. And he was like 1 year old or, months old. And I was like, look, babe, look. And he was not all there. And I think it was just the burden and the stress financially of where we were at. As a man, as a feeling like he's a provider and, then struggling to provide, I think it was messing with that. And, God calls us to be the head and not the tail. So if we're constantly feeling like we're taking, gasping for air and calling our creditors, you guys, that is a tail. Like we're called to be the head. And, I just came to a place where I'm like, okay, God, you said your word, like in your word, you said you're going to provide. So we just trust that you're going to provide, and I'm going to steward this, like what you've been giving us, like well. And I went to One Team, One Mission 2 weeks into my business, and I'm just so huge about events because it was a game changer for me. I went to that One Team, One Mission. I just remember meeting so many other people that had different walks, different backgrounds, different shapes and sizes. And I think that's what inspired me. Like, this is real. Like, real people are making $500 a month, $2,000 a month, $10,000 a month. And I was a different person. I started posting fierce, like, boldly. Like, I was posting before and after pictures. I was posting about the rat cash I was making. I made $600 in rat cash my first month. Like, you better believe I was talking about how I was getting a mani and pedi and not feeling bad about it. And I think that's just something so important. Like people need to see that, everybody's always going to be wondering what's in it for me. Like they don't care about, yes, that's great that you're doing it, but when they're looking at your post, like what's in it for me? And so I think there were, at some levels, people were starting to relate to the things I was posting. And so my husband was not all on board when I started, surprisingly. Even though he put it on his credit card and he knew I was signing up, he was not supportive in the sense that he didn't understand why I was staying up late, every night. When he would get home after a long day of showing properties, because his business and our business is very much similar. We both have night hours and weekend hours. And so he would come home from showing homes like at 9 o'clock at night. And I'm like, okay, I have to go wrap someone. And I would meet people like at common places, Starbucks bathrooms, hotel bathrooms. Like it was so weird. I remember feeling like, oh my God, I feel like I'm doing something illegal. I'm meeting people in like strange, bathrooms at the bathroom at the A-Loft Hotel. And I don't know who this person is. I met them on social media. And so he didn't understand, like, what, you're going to drive to the other side of the city to sell a $25 wrap? Like, you seriously want me to reschedule a $250,000 listing so you can sell a $25 wrap? Like, okay, Candy. And I think it's because he just genuinely didn't understand. And he didn't have to understand. My spirit knew, like my gut knew that this was for him, for our family. So you don't have to have a spouse all on board. You just have to remember you're doing it for them, because that's, the minute you put a comma in your paycheck, that's when you get them on board. I remember I went diamond in 3 months, and when he saw that first paycheck with a comma in it, it got his attention. Little by little, he was asking, how he could help. He was washing the dishes, watching my son. To this day, he doesn't really help with the business. My husband's never logged into eSuite. He sends me people like all the time. I mean, he's the blitz. He wears all his work shirts and his hats. But what has changed, and the most dynamic part, is like how fruitful our marriage is. I get to see him pursue his passion, which is real estate. And it's not because he has to do it. He loves to do it. And if he doesn't, he's in a position where he can bless other realtors now. Like if we have a vacation that we want to take, or we're traveling to go visit family, he can refer a lead or a deal to somebody to work that weekend, because we are not like starving for every single working the 7 days a week. And so if you don't have a spouse on board, I just felt like it was important to share that. Like, don't feel, I had this huge comparison thing at the beginning of my business where I would see other people's spouses all in and like, oh, I wish my husband would do this, or if only he helped me, pull reports while I do this and that. And like, don't put that on them, like their support to you, to them might be washing the dishes, watching the kids, doing a load of laundry. And it might take time for them to even get to that point, like it took for me, but it will happen. And so it's been such a beautiful journey. We went Ambassador about 2 years, 2.5 years into the business. This summer it'll be 4 years with It Works. But it's been so beautiful. I feel like the biggest shift, what we saw in our life is we brought in baby number 2 last year. And it's been night and day. And I seriously, every time I talk about this, it brings me to tears, because it's just such a different life. The first year that we had my son, I felt like a single mom, and we were struggling and like not knowing how we were going to pay our bills. And this last year I've had with Camila at home, there has been no arguments about our finances. I've had time with her. Like, it's just been so different. And I guess that's what, one of the things that fuels me every day when I'm reaching out to potentials. And even if they ignore me and they tell me no, when I follow up with them, I'm thinking of what this has done for me and how I know it can do it for other people. And so it's been, just like most of you, whether you're brand new or you've been doing this for a few years too, being in business for yourself, no matter what that is. I mean, you could own a brick and mortar place, but being a business for yourself, you will hit the highest of highs, lows of lows, but there's always blessing at that light at the end of the tunnel, because you do it for something bigger than yourself. I just feel like this has just been such a gift, and I feel like this business has been more of a ministry, and it's just crazy that we get paid for it. We get to help others. We get to, like, God puts people in your path, and pray for that. Like, I pray every day for God to put the right people in our path, to be at the right place at the right time. And so when I know, like, when I go and I do wrap parties and no shows happen, or when I go and I meet someone up and they don't sign up as an LC or DT, for me, I'm not discouraged anymore. And I will tell you, there was a point, like all the way, I think, to double diamond or triple diamond. I remember like having nights I was driving home in tears, like, oh my gosh, like nobody showed up. I'm doing this to be home with my kids. Like, yeah, I haven't even put my son to bed 3 or 4 nights in a row. And I'm like questioning everything. And, you know, a lot of it is just being faithful with what you've been given. The opportunity to go wrap person on the other side of the city, the opportunity to go host a party for somebody that just partnered with you in this business or entrusting you to show them the way. You know, nothing goes to waste. You could, you know, because you did your part with what you've been given, tomorrow you could be at the gas station and somebody comes up to you and asks you, hey, what is that thing that you're wearing? Or oh, you do the wrap? And it's like it falls out of the sky, and we all know where that really comes from, but it's because you've done your part and you sowed your seeds, and harvest is guaranteed to come when you sow your seeds. It's just not always in the way you expect it to come. So, so in a nutshell, that's been, I probably like talked way more than I should have for an
I
intro.
love it. I love it, Candace. A couple of the things that stood out to me. So I love when you said, because I know everyone's different. Like for me, I did sign up, like, you know, I mean, not all of my family, but like I got my mom, um, my sister-in-law, they kind of joined right away. But I've heard people before say, you know, my sister's not interested, my family's not interested. So you really sat there and watched your sister for 4 months before you jumped in.
Yeah.
That's
It
crazy.
was, yeah, and honestly, in those 4 months, I never even thought about doing this. Like, I didn't want to. I just, again, that fear of failure of what other people were going to think of me. I mean, it was genuinely, they just coming from a bad place. I just thought I was too good for it, I guess is what I was. You know, I didn't think I could ever do anything like this. And at the same time, though, I was intrigued at the boldness because my sister is so shy and so laid back, and all of a sudden seeing like this new person emerge. And honestly, it took when I went to go visit her, she started listing all my friends that were her loyal customers. And when she started listing all my friends, I was like, wait, what? Like those are my friends, you know? And really what got me to sign one of my girlfriends, Natalia, she's a nurse practitioner. She was overseeing 7 clinics in Austin, 4 clinics here in San Antonio. And she told me, hey, friend, your sis is up for a promotion and she needs one more DT. I think I might sign up to help her out. And I guess that was like almost really like the news flash for me. Like, what? My own friends are wanting to sign up to help my sister. And here I am, like, broke and struggling that I'm not even signing up to help my sister. And I need to help myself, you know? And so that kind of gave me the courage, like seeing somebody else with that one of my friends that was going to do it. It is really what it was. But, you know, some people just like, it's really hard, especially like I had no idea what network marketing was, MLM was. The only thing I knew was that pink makeup company because I had a few people in my church that did that. And I also knew that travel company. And what I disliked about a couple of those people that I knew and they tricked people to go to their sales meetings, to go to their, hey, come to lunch. And all of a sudden it's like a sales presentation. Or, hey, you're so pretty. Would you be a model? And then you show up and it's a presentation that they're just like trying to get you to buy makeup and this and that. So I always had misinterpreted MLM. Like you have to be this like snake, you know, and trick people. And I'm like, I would never do anything like that. But you know, obviously we know that this is nothing like that. People know what they're showing up to when they show up. There's no, you know, we don't have to because we have a really good product that people want. And so yeah, I mean, it did take time. And honestly, I don't know, had I not gone to visit her, then if it would have taken even more time. So it's just a matter of, you know, like some of the people that have joined me that have proven me wrong. You know, I have had one of my friends, I met her through boot camp. I was, you know, working out. And she has like a really successful insurance agency. I mean, she changes out luxury cars like nobody's business, every designer handbag. Like I just would have never even crossed my mind to offer her this opportunity. I wrapped her, I got the loyal customer form out, assuming the sale like I always do, right? When I wrap people, I get the customer and the distributor form out. But in this case, I just got the customer form out. And so I was talking to her about, back then it was a skinny tax. And she asked me, she's like, well, how much is it to do what you do? I was like, oh, well, it's only $40 more than a box of wraps. Like, you should do that. She's like, yeah, I should. You're presidential. At the time I was president. I'm like, yeah. And she's like, yeah, if you can make that kind of money, I'll do it. And I was just like, wait, that was easy. Like, and this is something I would have never asked because she's like professional. You guys, her why was her time. To spend time with her daughter, she had to bring her to her office while she's working. That's how she had connection time with her children. So people are hungry for freedom. You know, it's not always about the money. It's what money can give you, like that freedom of time. You know, what it's done for our family. You know, that my husband and being able to like, you know, not have to work 7 days a week and you know, be enslaved to like every single client that wants to see all over the city. And now that he can pursue it out of his passion, it's just been, such a shift.
I love that. That's so cool. And then it just makes me think, man, imagine if your sister had only posted for 2 weeks or, a month and then said, oh, my own family's not interested and quit. Like, you wouldn't be here. So because she was consistent, you ended up joining, which is a huge, leg in her organization. And so,
yes.
Wow.
And also, just to add real quick, none of our family was supportive, even when I signed up. So we come from a family of 4 girls. So Sammy was baby number 4. I was number 3. So our other 2 were like super worried. What if you both get into, so Sammy had all 3 of us. My mom was her 4th LC on the 30th day. So that's like as much support as she got. But aside from that, like there was no support family wise. Even my other sister, probably to this day, like now she doesn't say any of the negative comments. I have a sister that still isn't on board and like would tell me like, oh, that's like one of those Tupperware things. Those things aren't gonna last. Like she would like speak negatively to me. So it was an active effort to tune out that negativity because I myself was questioning. I was brand new. I had no idea what I was doing was real. We knew nobody that was successful. We didn't have successful uplines or direct connections with people that we knew one-on-one. It was like seriously faith of a mustard seed that got us working, but God can work with even that.
I love that. That's so cool, Candace. Okay, so tell us this. So, I mean, you're promoted to ambassador, you said like 2 years or something, 2.5 years. So how did you start? So you had to, obviously you mentioned get over the fear of what are people going to think. You had to just post and not worry about that. But how did you build your business? Did you start, I know you mentioned rapping. So did you make 100 lists and start reaching out to people? Did you let them come to you? Like, what were you doing to grow your business, to go diamond even?
Parties, for sure, and rap appointments. I mean, I had countless one-on-one rap appointments. Then I would book them into parties. And then every person that would sign up, like, so if I was hosting a party and then people signed up, I would host their parties. And it did not matter if I signed them or not. I was like, because I was so determined back then, you had to go diamond in 3 months. Very similar to the Go Fast bonus, but back then it was only available if you went diamond in 3 months, you got that $10,000 bonus. And so I didn't really have a choice. Like I just thought it was my responsibility. I didn't put it on people on my charts responsibility to like do the part because I didn't know if their goals were as ambitious as mine were. And I had big goals. So I just took it as my responsibility to host every single party in my organization. So every time somebody would sign a new DT, I would tell them, okay, girl, we're hosting your party next Saturday. And I would like literally leave party to go to next party back to back to back. And social media was big back then, but not as big as where it is now. But I feel like I honestly don't think I would have been able to go diamond in 3 months had I not had so many parties because we literally closed out rubies at a time at parties. Like we would have a party and sign up 3, 4 DTs, 5 DTs. And so it's like people were closing out and we would tell them, hey, if you sign today, we'll place these 2 customers like underneath you. And so there was like all of, that constant and people were like, okay, yeah, like let's do this. And then they were getting faster bonuses and it was like this trickle effect. And so that's how we got the charts. And I always had charts available to where every person who I was doing a party, I could show them where they're at. Like, okay, girl, like, and we would call people and ask, if there were no shows, we would go to the neighbor's house and talk to them about it, excuse me, and wrap them and sign them up. And it was just like, we didn't waste time. We would go to make every, use of our time to be able to get people to wrap. And I think I felt like the minute we put a wrap on, it was like game on. Like we were able to get them to sign up.
That's so cool. So, okay, so you did tons of parties. And then, so now a lot of times, Candace, people will say like, oh, I feel like my network's getting tapped and you're obviously living proof it's not because you've been in almost 4 years, I think you said. So what about now? How are you still generating new leads? How are you still signing people? Like, 4 years in.
So I'm a blitz person and I blitz differently. I mean, I do carry blitz cards with me, but I don't give out blitz cards to everybody I meet. I add people to Facebook all the time. I'm still very much a connector person. So I spend time, like, for me, this is long term. I'm not in this for like, tomorrow, if I don't hit this promotion, that's it, I'm out. Like, this is like a forever business for me. So I'm okay that it takes time to build relationships. Like I might add someone and I love on their post for a bit before I like reach out to them. I'm not that person who can just go through a list and cold message a ton of people. Like for me, me, I have to have some kind of interaction. They've got to see I'm a real person. They've got to see that I really care about their life. Like, I'm not just like, hey, I just added you today. Have you ever heard of It Works? Like, that's just not me. And I know there's some people who are very successful like that. But so last year having Camila, I thought, and then this is another thing I think is important to share. I looked a lot to the right and to the left. I feel like once I hit, ambassador, or even, yeah, maybe it was like, I just was like, all of a sudden looking to the left to right, realizing everything I wasn't doing. And I was seeing like all these people on social media rocking it out. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm not doing Instagram. And I was like putting all this like anxiety where it almost pulled joy away from me and the way I was working my business. And everything that I was not doing is what I was focusing on. And then I had the baby, and I'm like, I have to make this work. I have to figure out Instagram. I have to figure out, like, just stressing myself out with everything I wasn't doing so I could be home with the baby. And I did grow a lot on Facebook still, but I kind of let it go. Like, I still tap into both resources, but I have found that I find the most joy working Facebook, and I don't stress myself out like not being a rock star recruiter on Instagram. Like, I post every day, I message people, but it's not like I'm good at Facebook, and I'm okay with that. And that's just where I build. And I do target a lot locally. Like, I will go to places and things like that, and friend request people locally, because I host weekly sample parties every single Wednesday here for my team. And so I know that if I can, connect with them and build relationships on social media, then I can get to them in person. And if they come to a sample party where there's other leaders on my team that are there sharing their testimonies, and we're physically sampling products. So I do have a very large local team because of the way I specifically target. And then again, just adding people. Like, I have like this rule that if I'm tendering money anywhere, like if I'm exchanging money anywhere, there is a connection. They either get a Blitz card or an ad on Facebook. So it's just, if I'm paying money to you, like I want to connect with you. So, if I'm getting waxed, if I'm getting my hair done when I'm checking out, they get a coupon. If we have a connection, I add them to Facebook. Maybe I don't even give them a Blitz card, but I just talk to them. And sometimes I won't even tell them what I do. If I was at this at the dry cleaners actually just yesterday picking up some shirts for my husband, and a lady, I have a lot of like jewelry that have like stones that this friend of mine makes. And so this lady was asking me, oh my God, I love natural stones. I'm like, oh my gosh. So instead of telling her where I got it, I'm like, are you on Facebook? So if they compliment something you're wearing or something you're doing, tell them you'll send them the name of what you have or whatever it is that they want to know. If you're talking about a restaurant or a place, like, oh, I can't think of that name. Are you on Facebook? I'll message it to you on Facebook, or I'll send you the link, or I'll introduce you to her on Facebook. Somebody asks you where you get your hair done. Don't tell them where you get your hair done. Oh, I'll send you the link on Facebook. Are you on there? Yes, okay. Friend request them, then send them the link. Now you have a new connection. So that's just something that how I specifically target and build my business now. Is I do utilize social media a lot, but I'm still like a party person. I still get our launch parties scheduled within the first 7 to 14 days in the business.
I was muted. Sorry. Okay. I love that. I love that. That's how you do. Because I'm with you. I always try to get them on Facebook, but I've never thought about don't tell them you're a hair lady. I'll send you the link I'll send you the link. Are you on Facebook? Because it gives you a reason to add them. That's so good. So you kind of talked a little bit. So you said, you might message and add. What does a day look like for you, Candace? Like, what are the things like your non-negotiables, or like, I don't know if you have a 6 list, or like, what is it that you like try to do daily, for your business?
So posting on Facebook is so important. One, because if they forget that this is what you do, they will sign up with somebody else. I guarantee it. So I will never miss a day that I don't post about the product or the business. And I'm not like, I do think it's important that we post influencing like how we use these, how they're changing your life, being able to be home with the baby, or the greens, or like using, I don't like to tell people always what I'm using, but I might post a picture of me with like probiotic, like holding a probiotic and saying, oh, my flat tummy recipe. And I'm not even saying what I'm using, and people are messaging like, what is that? And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'll send you a PM. And I take it, I close it like privately. I never answer any questions on my threads. But so I start off like with my posts. I, start off with something either inspirational, or I alternate between something inspirational and then looking for, business or product posts. And then I kind of just space it out. I try to add in at least one funny thing a day. Breakfast is like really important to us. So we take my son to school, and then we come back. My husband and my daughter, like all three of us, like we eat breakfast together every morning. And so that's, one thing that is just really important to us. And then we have some work time. And then another thing that's really important is every time we're out, like my husband holds me accountable. I make sure that I add at least, somebody that we meet on Facebook before I come home. So I'm actually physically pushed to blitz people. And then another thing that is like a non-negotiable is the messaging and following up. It's just part of what I do. And then I follow up with teammates. I usually pick like 1 to 2 names to follow up with for people that I've, personally coaching in the business. So sometimes that might take up a 30-minute call or an hour, but I usually like at least an hour to just do follow-ups with existing teams that are working. And I say working because not everybody earns your time. And I think that's something so important. I think a lot of people struggle in this business when they're holding on to dead weight, hoping, and you're pouring all this energy and time into people that don't appreciate it. And you need to be focused on that energy to your potential, because the new blood, new people that you bring in is the only thing that changes your business. So it's important why we spend more time recruiting and messaging people than we do managing or like, coaching and all that stuff. So that's every day is kind of different, but I feel like it's just those are like non-negotiables, and I before Camila, I had more of a pattern or habit, like it was like structured. I knew exactly what I was going to do. I knew the time I was going to work out, and it's just been different. We've had some fallout with nannies and stuff like that, and I'm just genuinely enjoying the ride, and I love the flexibility this business gives us. But if you're not, I worked from home before, so I kind of have like time management down. Some people struggle with, time management. And it's funny because I've actually seen people on my team usually work their business a lot more strategically and better when they're working full time. And then they quit their job and I'm like, girl, what happened? You were posting so much and you were consistent, you were on fire. And they just don't know how to manage their time at home. So working full time is a very good thing. I'll tell you just from my personal experience, I don't know if it's different for you, Sherilyn, but for my team, the people that work full time, they know they have very limited time to work this business. So they're scheduled in. You have 30 minutes during your lunch break. You have 30 minutes before, work. That you put your kid to bed at 8 o'clock at night. You have an hour or whatever. So, when you're crunched for time and you're super busy, it means that you're just very strategic in the time that you're going to apply yourself to this. So it's a very good thing.
I love that. No, that's so good. And that is true. And I think so much of this business, it really is about, that doing those income producing activities. So if you're going to sit there and get them done, like you said, you'll follow up, you message, you do your post, like whether, it's in a 2-hour span or whether you're doing a little bit all throughout the day, it's just about getting it done, and not getting distracted. And I love that. So, okay, Candace, one of the last things I'll ask you is, what is something that maybe you wish you would have known, or like, maybe it's an aha moment, something that you're like, man, I wish I could tell myself this when I first joined or when I was Ruby. Is there anything you can think of where you're like, oh, I wish I would have known that then, or anything you can think of like that?
Yeah, one of the things, it's more on a personal level because I feel like, and I'm sure everybody's the same way, like I really invest personally, like I love this business. I love the friendships and the relationships I've gained out of it. So I tied a lot of people quitting to me. Like I thought it was me. What could I have done better? And of course, I still always, every time there's like a cycle or things happen, I don't ever ask God why. To me, my question is what? Like, what do I need to learn from that, God? I don't want to go around the mountain over again. So, but, at the beginning, it would like really tear me down. And then there was like, I would feel hurt or it would feel personal when people would quit this business, friends, family. And I feel like, if I could go back and tell myself, like, it's not you, understand there's a season for everyone, even for you, for me, that God put them in that season and to help advance our family where we were at, to help them advance their family for the chapter they were in. But just not to beat yourself up for the people that quit, and stay focused looking forward, because the people he has planned for you, he can't put those right people in your path if you don't go through those growing pains, those opportunities to learn from, charting mistakes, to learn from, just all the different things that you're going to have shortcomings. You're going to have, I've made placement mistakes. I've made mistakes and all the different things. And then everything that I feel like was something I wish I could change, I know it was an opportunity to grow from. so for me, I think it would just be, to know that it's, you can't make anybody do this. That if they're designed to be link arms with you, like they will link arms with you. And if you are all in, then you're in the best position to equip someone to see freedom, to have abundance in their homes. But you've got to be planted and committed. If you're, weathering from the left to the right and you're trying to figure out where you're going, you can't, properly guide someone. But if you are grounded and they still leave, that is not your responsibility. Be there and available if and when they want to come back. But you've got to be so focused about where you're going that you're not going to let the quitters drag you down, because more people that should, quit because of the people on their team that quit, and they get discouraged and like, oh, maybe this isn't for me. It's like, no, you just got to go out there and find new people, because there are not just one or two of yous and me's. Like, there's a million people praying for something like this that are willing to do whatever it takes to bring their family to a place of freedom. And if we don't go out there and minister it to them, like, you've lost, that opportunity that could have not only left a legacy for your children's children, but for their children's children. And so just doing the uncomfortable, I love that thing, if you're scared, you just do it scared, you just, even when you don't know, if it's fear driven, it's not of God. So just eliminate that fear and just go out there and be what you want to bring into your business. If you're not praying for somebody like you, then you probably aren't where you need to be. So, get more consistent, get into a pattern. For me, that's, when I was genuinely, like, I remember when I was Double Diamond, I was like, just praying, like, God, please, like, bring me more people that are like me, who want to, like, work hard and, want to be able to change their family's life. Like, I was genuinely praying for people like me, because I knew I was willing to do what it takes. I was doing the uncomfortable. And, in the seasons that I kind of like wasn't working as consistently, or, maybe I've had months like after I had my baby and stuff, I was just like, I caught myself, and I knew that I'm not going to bring people into this business that are going to be fire if I'm not the fire.
Oh, I love that. That's so good. I mean, and that's true. You can't, and I think I'm with you, Candace, on that. You can't take it personally. Some people are going to join and catch the vision and go for it. There's other people that, you'll see all the potential in them, but if they don't want it, there's nothing you can do. But it is up to you to be, to show them, lead by example. Because if you're not all in, what makes you think they're going to be all in? If you're not posting, why would they post? If you're not showing up, why would they show up? So I love that. Oh, thank you for this, girl, so much.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I just love you. Your team is so blessed with you guys.
Well, we love you guys, and team, I'm going to get the recording up for this, and so I'll have John do